Hey guys, welcome to a new video. So today I'm going to be talking about August because next month, August, we have two distributions. Yes, that's right. It's a 5 times distribution, if you like, for the month of August, and that's two distributions for Group D. So if you're in MSTY, SMCY, or any of these guys at all, then that is good news for you. Good news for me. MSTY is my biggest holding, so it's due to be probably for me a record month, at least a very exciting month in terms of earnings, and I hope it is for you too. So let's just take a look at that and see what that is going to look like for next month, because of course MSTY, my biggest holding here, 7,197 shares. We get 2 weeks of that. I've got AIYY in Group D, so 2 weeks of that. SMCY, 2 weeks of that. And XYZY, LFGY, and of course the weeklies get doubled as well. We got, these are all my holdings, but of course you may have different ones. And so we're going to get the first payment on the 1st of August and the second payment on the 29th of August. So right at the beginning of the month, then all the other groups, and then right at the end of the month for Group D. So very exciting. So for me, it's looking like that's going to be a record month. I've had a great month. We've just had distribution announcements for Group C, which is of course Coney. That is my second biggest holding after MSTY, and that did pretty well, 79 cents, which can't complain about because it's been worse than that. And Coney's had a really good month or so. It's increased in price share. It's had all that good news about stablecoin legislation, so it's done really well. So that's good. AMZY in there as well, 56 cents. It's actually pretty good distribution amounts for all of these. CVNY, $2.04, and then the weeklies, 48 cents for LFGY. Such a consistent player. I love LFGY. YMAG, 20 cents, which is good for YMAG. That's one of its best weeks. ULTY, people are loving ULTY in the YieldMax community, and it does seem to have stabilized really nicely over the past couple of months, and it's giving out really good distributions. So I have been reinvesting into that as well. Actually, if we go to what I've been buying this week, ULTY a couple of times after it was 635, then it dropped even more, so I bought in again. And I've also been buying these guys. These are the funds. This is the Coinbase fund, and this is the Robinhood fund from Roundhill. So I spoke about that in my last video, which was actually about Palantir, PLTW. And I really like the 120% exposure on it, slightly leveraged, and I think they're going to do really well. So they are dipping at the moment though now, so probably quite a good opportunity to buy. I might buy a little bit more tonight. We will see what happens. But yeah, so pretty good month for July. So that gave me 28,000. This is Australian, so this isn't bragging or anything. This is not $28,000 US. It's 20,000 USD, and then I get taxed. My withholding tax of 15%. That's just for my brokerage. They hold 15% withholding tax, and then my actual tax is calculated at the end of the financial year. But yeah, 28,000 for the month. Very, very happy with that. But that's not my best month. My best month was actually the last time that we had a group paying twice in 1 month, which was May. So we had 5 weeks of distributions, if you like. So we had Group C paying twice, Coney, and Coney's my second biggest position. So that's why it did really well for me, 31,000 Australian dollars net after that withholding tax amount. So I was super pumped about that. And so now I'm getting super pumped about July because obviously, not July, August, because we've got my biggest holding giving out 2 payments, and then one of my second favorite ETFs in YieldMax, which is SMCY. I wouldn't say it's my second biggest holding, but it's not, because obviously Coney is, but it gave me my 3rd best distribution last month. So for August, I can't see it not being a record month for me. I don't know what it's going to come out to, because YieldMax seems to have been reducing the distributions a little bit to kind of preserve that NAV, stop the NAV decay and NAV erosion that everyone's kind of concerned and talking about. So I feel like the distributions are getting slightly smaller to try and preserve that NAV a little bit. So I don't know if it will be amazing, but I still think it'll be above that 31,000 that I was absolutely loving back in May. I think it may hit the $35,000 amount, which is just incredible. It allows me to live off these, so that me and my family can basically live off these. So I take out about $10,000 to $12,000 a month, depending on what we need, and then I just try and reinvest the rest, or as much as possible. Basically, take out whatever I need and reinvest the rest, which is kind of my strategy at the moment. You'll see that these are the things that I buy during the weeks when I reinvest the distributions that I'm not using for expenses for us to live on as a family. So yeah, very exciting times. So yeah, Group D, August is going to be very exciting. So let's take a bit of a further look into Group D and all the ETFs within that group and see how they compare and how they've been performing over recent time spans. So if we take a 6-month period, this is all the ETFs within Group D: MSTY, SMCY, AIYY, XYZY, and all these other ones. Kind of more boring, winter, the inverse of MSTY. Sorry about that noise in the background. But anyway, this is all the ETFs in Group D, and you will see that over a 6-month period, the last 6 months, SMCY is actually the top. MSTY lost its crown, at least over a 6-month period, to SMCY. It's been doing really well recently. It just has great volatility, great distributions, and it's been kind of doing pretty well recently in that tech AI space. And then you've got DISO, AMZY, and then the rest, basically. But yeah, SMCY, MSTY, definitely my favorite too. If we look at it from a year, then it's a different story. It's MSTY is the GOAT. It's the out-and-out winner by a long shot, 111%. AMZY. This kind of skewed a bit because some of these didn't even launch until within this past year. So I wouldn't really count this as an accurate comparison. Also, stuff like SMCY or SMCI, the underlying stock, got dropped from the NASDAQ. It wasn't the S&P, I think it was the NASDAQ at this time, and the underlying just absolutely tanked. And so if you got in before then that's unfortunate. That was obviously a bad time to get in because it just tanked so badly. But then since then, it's obviously been doing really, really well. So there's things to consider with that. If we take a look, actually, what I like to do is to take a look from the kind of tariff curve. So like if we go April 4th and we compare all of them from that time, that's kind of like a 3 or 4 month time period, then it will show MSTY is still the best, SMCY up there. It's basically MSTY and SMCY. XYZY. Now this, I actually entered a position, I started a position into this about 2 months ago based on some research that I did, and it's been performing really well. And actually a few days ago, just got announced that it's entering the S&P 500, which then actually, made it have a little boom. And I think if we go to the monthly, just 1 month, yeah, it's the best performer. XYZY, AIYY. AIYY, it's hit that bottom. It's probably my worst performing ETF as a whole, but it's kind of bottomed out. It's starting to recover a bit, so it's doing quite nicely. But MSTY, SMCY. So I'd still be concentrating on MSTY, SMCY. Obviously not financial advice, but those are the two that I'm most bullish on. MSTY's an interesting one because the underlying hasn't been doing particularly well, MicroStrategy. And these are its distributions. So, it was kind of always paying around the 90, 100% mark. And it goes through fluctuations, but then the last one was really poor. I think that was a record low for MSTY at $1.23, 68%. But I do think as Bitcoin appreciates in this bull run and the price action goes higher for Bitcoin and for crypto in general, it will start to do better. I guess that depends on YieldMax's new strategy as to whether they're giving out smaller distributions to try and preserve that NAV. We will see. But if we compare that to SMCY, this is SMCY's distribution yield percentages. So it's always pretty good. It's always around the 80, 90, 100, over 100. Look at this, 136%, 121%. So it's really volatile, and it's just been performing really well. I really like it as an ETF within YieldMax. Probably my second favorite after MSTY, to be honest. But obviously there's PLTY, and there's other great ones. Who is on absolutely on fire at the moment. But if we take a look at MSTY price action, as I said, it's been pretty disappointing because I was hoping it would be further up. It's just been kind of, it looks like it's been gathering steam. I'll just change this to 6 months. And then it just kind of drops. And the underlying MicroStrategy seems to be having issues with even keeping up with Bitcoin price. So I think, Bitcoin is up, whatever, 20%, and MicroStrategy is not even up 20%, even though it's almost supposed to be a leveraged play on Bitcoin. And it seems to be having some issues, maybe with legal lawsuits and actions that are happening, as well as how it's acquiring its money to go and buy Bitcoin. If it's tapping the ATM or whatever it's doing, those strategies, some people will know more about this than me. But the MicroStrategy underlying stock seems to be having a bit of a phase at the moment, where it's not performing even as well as Bitcoin, and that's obviously having a big impact on MSTY. But I do think that by the end of this year, like, I've done predictions on MSTY before, and I was very bullish. I was like 40 to 45. With recent performance, I just can't. I'm not sure if it will hit it, but I'm still very confident they'll get over the $30 mark, simply because I'm so bullish on Bitcoin, and I think Bitcoin will hit that 180 to 200K by the end of the year. There's huge amounts of global liquidity going into the market. M2 money supplies kicking off. Huge amounts of corporations, financial institutions, governments buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, all sort of the crypto space is probably going to go off, in my opinion. It's going to be a big bull run towards the end of the year. We'll see how that plays out. So yeah, I did have a prediction of around $40 to $45, and now I'm slightly less bullish just because of recent performance of MicroStrategy. It may be just coiling up to, burst into action. Not sure, not financial advice, but we'll see what happens. I'm still confident that we'll get back to the $30 mark. At least I hope so, because it's my biggest holding, and I want to kind of sell it. If Bitcoin does really well, like it did back in October, November time, where MSTY went from, $19 to $44, then I'm going to be wanting to get out at the top here, because I don't want to be riding it all the way down into a Bitcoin bear market, which I think will happen from middle of 2026 onwards. It seems like people are saying it's a super cycle, but I'm not going to hedge my bets on that. So I'm going to be probably getting rid of the majority, or at least half of my position at the top. If it gets to 30, if it gets to 34, whatever the indicators are showing me is the kind of somewhere near the top, I'm going to be getting out of that, potentially getting into winter, which is the inverse, and getting into some of my other favorite ETFs, SMCY, PLTY, YQQQ maybe, which had, I think it got announced that it was just under $7 distribution amount yesterday for YQQQ. It's absolutely killing it. So lots of good ETFs in YieldMax, and there's also the new ones from Roundhill, the weeklies, which I am very excited about too, and I'm getting into a few of those positions, so I'll keep you updated on that. But yeah, essentially very exciting time for August coming up. 2 distributions for Group D, like I said, so we'll see how that plays out and what our monthly earnings are going to look like for next month. But yeah, let me know what you hold in Group D and what you're excited about, and if you have any questions, any comments, please just add them into the comment section. And thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.